The doors of your car will close automatically. Please keep your head and arms inside and remain seated at all times. And please, no smoking. Thank you.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Hey there, Mountaineers! Welcome to episode 36 of Matterhorn Mondays. I'm your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex the Historian.
And today, this episode, oh my gosh, this is just a train wreck of a story. So, as Alex and I were preparing to go live for this episode, I thought it would be a good idea to play some what were they called? Some silly symphonies on the stream. I thought it would be a good idea. I thought you guys would like to watch that while you're waiting instead of listening to music, but as it turns out, Disney was just waiting for me to start playing some of their copyrighted content, and I don't think I technically got a copyright strike. All I know is that I can't live stream for the next 90 days, so there's that. So I might make a backup channel. People in the Discord have been saying that I should either make a backup channel for streaming and up until the 90 days are up, or just switch to Twitch for now. I'll figure something out. I like having the live streams. I like having the ability to interact with you guys. I'm sure Alex does too. But anyways, forgetting about all that terrible stuff, Alex, why don't you let the lovely viewers know what kind of videos you make, just in case some of them don't know who you are.
Alrighty, whoa, I'm hearing some echo.
Oh goodness, that's probably my bad.
Okay, so, that's better. It was like my own voice, like, right in my ear. I was like, oh jeez. Okay, so for those of you who don't know my channel, I'm a historian all about Disneyland, and so you can find on my channel a show where I talk about each of Disneyland's rides and its history from all the way from its opening all the way till today, and you can learn stuff about Disneyland on that show. I also have another show called Fun Fact Friday, and on Fridays I usually put out a video. Well, some Fridays, I should say. I usually put out a video of something about Disneyland's history, so an item or something like that of historical interest. And so I also have a vlog series, which I usually do about every week. And that one, I go into the park and I talk about Disneyland's history while kind of exploring the park and getting a feel for it in my own kind of fashion. So that is my channel. It's basically all about Disneyland history and nothing else.
Yeah, guys, if you aren't already subscribed to Alex, I say this every week. As I always say this every week. Definitely go out and give Alex a subscribe, give him a like, and yeah, we'll see how this episode goes. Again, we're not used. This is the first episode we've done without live streaming in a long time. It feels like. Yeah, a very long time. Probably like 15 episodes maybe? That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. But I just wanted to point something out to you guys. A lot of you have been asking when I'm going to be in the parks next, and it is confirmed. I will be in probably not Disneyland all of the days, but I will be in California July 16th through the 21st. So if any of you guys are going to be in the parks during those days, be sure to see if you can find me, meet up, say hi, get a picture or something. I don't know. It sounds kind of weird asking for people to take pictures with me, but I'll my goodness. I'll announce on Twitter or on Discord or both. Maybe even make a YouTube video like the day before I'm going to be in the parks, something like that, just so you guys will have a better heads up. But yeah, I will be in the parks, or I guess just in California. I'm not sure how many days we're going to be in Disneyland for sure, but we will be in California July 16th through the 21st, so mark it on your calendars, guys. Alright. Now, getting into today's 2 topics, we are going to be talking about the new redhead, Pirates of the Caribbean redhead walk-around character, and Alex and I are going to sort of find out what other Disney characters from attractions we'd like to see as walk-around characters, and Alex and I are going to try and solve Disneyland's Stroller issue. I believe we briefly talked about the Stroller issues a couple episodes ago, but getting into the first topic, Disney's new Brassy Buccaneer is what they're calling her on the Disney Parks blog. That's okay. Brassy Buccaneer sailing into Disneyland Park this summer. I'm just going to quote straight from the Disney Parks blog post. Arriving soon at Disneyland Park is a fierce and independent pirate known as Red. A bit mysterious. So I guess Brassy Buccaneer isn't technically her name. It's Red, but a bit mysterious by nature, Red travels to various ports throughout the Caribbean, selling rum and collecting coin, and will be soon taking a journey to visit with guests in New Orleans Square. And here, in the post, it's sort of like they do like a mini interview with her. I'm just gonna read this straight for you guys, so you will know. Yeah, I'm just gonna read the interview to you guys. Now, the interview is asking her, "Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?" And she says, "Well, if I needed friends, they call me Red. Pirates call me for short. I've been around the world, but the sea is..." Is that a good pirate voice? I feel like that's more of a Western voice. But I've been around the world, but the sea is always home. That's like Forrest Gump. That's not pirate speak, but I'm doing my best. "Do you know Captain Jack Sparrow? That Sparrow owes me a new ship. Wouldn't be surprised if he found himself in the irons once more. If you see Mr. Sparrow, I'd be looking for him." Yeah, that's not pirates. That's Forrest Gump. But I will roll with it. "Some pirates think it's bad luck to have a woman aboard a pirate ship. What do you think? 'Tis far worse luck not to." There's only 3 more I gotta get through. "What is treasure to you?" "Coin, of course. I accept it all. Spanish doubloons, English farthings, French livre, Dutch lion dollars, and Portuguese moidor." That's a tough word to pronounce. "Are you looking forward to meeting guests in New Orleans Square?" "I suppose. I'd be searching for brave sorts of recruits for a few little ventures." Oh my gosh. Okay, so this last one is sort of poking fun at what she used to be in the ride. "Are you anyone's bride?" the interviewer asks. "My only love is profits, dear." So, that was the worst thing I've ever done on this channel, but
I don't know what was worse, the interview or that voice that you came up with.
Oh my goodness. I tried to channel some sort of inner pirate I had, but I ended up just being Forrest Gump. So yeah, as Alex said, the interview is really strange. I found it weird that they decided to do like a mini interview with her, a mini interview in quotes. The questions are kind of weird. I can't quite put my finger on it. But yeah, the questions are kind of weird. They don't say specifically when she'll be arriving. It just says, "Brassy Buccaneer sailing into Disneyland Park this summer." So we're not 100% sure on the dates of this. Maybe around the time Pirates is supposed to reopen from refurbishment. But Alex, what are your thoughts on having the redhead as a walk-around character in the Disney parks? Or I guess in Disneyland.
So since I heard about this from you, what was it, today or yesterday, or I don't even remember the days anymore. I've been trying to figure out why they would do this. Like, why would there be this walk around character? Like, it makes no sense. She's not really like, I mean, the redhead as she was in the past was just known as this minor character in Pirates of the Caribbean: The Ride.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's a walk-around character, and it just doesn't seem right because she's not very well known in that respect. And she's not on the caliber of Jack Sparrow or Barbossa or anything. It's kind of weird. And so the more I thought about it, the more I suddenly kind of realized what they were trying to accomplish here. And what they were trying to do, I think, is they were trying to show... Well, okay, how do I put this into words? Because I know what I'm thinking in my head, but trying to say it into words doesn't come out right. So they want her as a walk-around character, so that way she can provide this, female strong character that they want to build up for her. They want children to interact with a female pirate character as opposed to the standard, male tough pirate character that is always seen as the hero or whatever. Now they want there to be something that is more feminine and something that represents the what am I trying to say here? the female side of things. So they want there to be a character that children can look up to that isn't just male. They want there to be a female character. So I know that's one of the reasons why they turned the redhead in The Ride into a pirate, is because there isn't very many female pirate characters, if any at all, and they wanted there to be a female pirate character that can I don't know. Come on, Alex, what am I trying to say here? It has to do with equality and feminism and things like that. Equality between the genders and things like that. You always have these male role models and male lead characters, and Disney is trying to push the female characters. And so that's why they have her as this walk-around person, because you can meet Jack Sparrow as a walk-around character. You can meet a band of singing pirates that are walk-around characters. But now they want something else for children to look up to and kind of, idolize as part of being a pirate, and it's being a female pirate. And so anyway, that's my thoughts on why they have her in the first place. But now my opinion on having her around is kind of different. I'm not against there being a female pirate character at all. It's just that her character is so developed last minute. It's almost like they needed a character really fast, and so they just developed this female redhead character, and she seems kind of like a not so well-rounded character. When you read books and things like that, you have what are called flat characters and rounded characters. And rounded characters are characters who have a backstory, who start to develop and become part of your circle of characters and stuff like that. But then you have this flat character like Red, and all they want you to know about her is that she is your average pirate. She sells booze and stuff like that, and and she probably pillages, plunders, and stuff like that, just like any other pirate. But anyway, I think it's just a little odd. It's just a little weird because she's not well known in the movies, and she's just a theme park created character, and that doesn't usually pan out when you have a character that's created specifically for a theme park and you're trying to make them popular or you're trying to make them seem cool. It doesn't always pan out the way that you would think it would. So I think that this Red character is gonna be kind of awkward, and if she's anything like the red character from Walt Disney World's refurbished Pirates of the Caribbean, she's probably going to seem a little strange too, because I don't know, like I didn't like the voice that they chose for the female pirate character in Walt Disney World, and most likely we're going to get the same voice actor here for ours at Disneyland, which is, in my opinion, unfortunate, because she just doesn't sound right. She doesn't sound like a pirate. She sounds like somebody's angry Southern mother, you know, like you know, like, they want the rum, don't ya, boys? And it just doesn't sound right. Like, I'm like, that doesn't sound like a pirate. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so that's kind of my opinion on her and why I don't think it's really gonna pan out right.
Yeah, I agree with you. My impression was, with them having this new walk-around character, I assumed it was so they could warm up people's idea to replacing the redhead, since they're replacing her with this new one from the, as you might have already seen in Walt Disney World, and I believe in Disneyland Paris as well. I just assumed it was to sort of get people on the right side, get people on Disney's side as to why they're sort of changing it. But I do agree with Alex. I do think it's kind of weird to have this one character we don't even know anything about and have her as a walk-around character, but I can totally see why they would want to do it. Like Alex said, for female empowerment, something like that. That's what you said. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Now, I really don't have a lot else to say. I mean, it's...
You know what else I was thinking just now? I was thinking maybe they want to create a line of female what do they call that? They want to create a line of merchandise that is pointed towards the female park guest. So like right now, like a lot of the pirate stuff that they're selling in the parks is aimed at young boys and men who like pirates, but maybe they see a future in, you know, selling pirate stuff to girls and women. So maybe they're trying to create a market with this character, you know, which I think is kind of it. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah. Well, now that you bring it up, I can totally see Disney coming out with maybe like 3 or 4 different sidekicks that she can have, and have them be like on the cover of on a T-shirt that says maybe something like "Pirates don't take orders from men," something like that. You guys know what I mean. But it's just I can. Oh my gosh, that was possibly a weird comment, but anyways, I can totally see Disney doing this now that Alex just brought it up. But yeah, I really don't have a lot else to say about this walk-around character. I mean, we won't know what she's like until we actually get to see her in person. Then again, also, Disney didn't put a dedicated release date. It just said coming this summer, so she could be coming anytime. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, let's move on to our sort of second part of the topic. That is, what walk-around characters would we like to see that would be based on characters that are already existing in Disney attractions. That is an extremely long name. I don't know why I couldn't shorten that anymore, but which Disney attractions character would you like to see as a walk-around character? That's equally as long, but anyways, Alex, we'll start with you. What character from a Disney park attraction would you like to see as a walk-around character? That was much better.
You know, I would really like to see the Hatbox Ghost.
Oh man, you stole mine.
What? Really? No way. I just came up with that in my head right now. Okay, well, yeah. So I would really like to see the Hatbox Ghost as a walk-around character. I don't know why. I think it's just because he looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's all I really have to say about that. I wish I had more to say.
Well, it's kind of weird now that I'm thinking about it. We're basing our walk-around characters off of attractions that don't necessarily have an IP attached to them. Because you could say, I want to see Peter Pan from Peter Pan's Flight as a walk-around character, but they already have Peter Pan as a walk-around character, since he's an already existing IP from the Disney library. So it's kind of weird, because like in attractions like Pirates of the Caribbean or the Haunted Mansion or any other non-IP ride, you don't really have those kinds of characters that really... What am I trying to say? They don't really have those kinds of characters that follow you throughout the ride, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You could argue Jack Sparrow is one of them in Pirates of the Caribbean, but there's already a Jack Sparrow walk-around character. I was trying to put some thought into this earlier when I was trying to think of what character I'd pick. Of course, the first one that popped into my head was the Hatbox Ghost, but after I thought of the Hatbox Ghost, I couldn't really think of any other characters from non-IP Disney attractions to put as a walk-around character. Let's see. I was also thinking maybe Indiana Jones, but I don't know how that would work with like licensing and stuff. But yeah, that was just sort of my mini rant. Not really rant. I was just trying to say something. I don't know what I was trying to say, but I can definitely say I would like to have the goat with the dynamite in his mouth from Big Thunder Mountain as a walk-around character. I think he would be very awesome to get a picture with.
That would look interesting. You know what? I used to always think that I would have liked to see the pirate auctioneer from Pirates of the Caribbean as a walk-around character. Mm-hmm. I always admired the costume that they created for him, because he is the most like well-decorated pirate there is in the whole attraction. I mean, he looks great. He's got this amazing like vest with all these little like designs, golden designs embroidered into it, and he's got this blue outer jacket. I think they call it like a dust coat, and it's, you know, and he's got these big brown boots and stuff like that. I always thought he looked like the coolest character out of all the pirates, and I used to think that I'd like to see him as a walk-around character. But it was one. But you know what? Like I never like thought much of it past that point, because I always thought that having like a ride character walk around the park was a little kind of weird. Yeah. Because nobody would know who they were, despite the fact that they've probably ridden the attraction like 100 times. Like, okay, I'm gonna tell an embarrassing story. Okay, so for one Halloween, I really wanted to be the pirate auctioneer from Pirates of the Caribbean. So I went and created my own costume. I ended up going to like a costume store and buying what do they call those? Forms, like I forget what they're called, but they're like the shapes of the garment that you want to create. They sell them as printed out shapes, and what you do is you trace over them onto fabric, and you cut out the fabric into the various shapes, and then you sew the fabric together. I forget what they're called. Like whoever's listening right now,
like a stencil, kind of something like that.
Yeah, like a stencil, right? So I ended up buying this like stencil thing to create this blue dust coat that the pirate auctioneer created. I even went and created the vest and everything, and I tried to buy the same like necklace jewels that he had, because he also had like this brooch that like hung down like on his chest, and then of course he had this red bandana and a pirate hat on top of that. He was just really well decorated, and I really liked his character, so I really wanted to be him for Halloween. And I thought, you know what? Everyone's ridden Pirates of the Caribbean. They'd know who he is. So I'm like walking around like Hollywood on Halloween, and like everyone thinks I'm Captain Morgan.
Oh
And so
my goodness.
and so I'm walking down, oh, what was it? Santa Monica Boulevard on Halloween, because they have like this every year they do this Halloween bash where they close off the whole street and people just walk around and drink and take pictures with each other. And so I'm walking down Santa Monica Boulevard and I'm hoping that people would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's the pirate auctioneer," or something like that. But nobody thinks that. So I didn't expect that. And everyone who sees me, they want to take a picture with me, but they want me to raise one leg up, like I'm putting my leg up on a barrel or something, because that's what Captain Morgan does. So everyone wants to take a picture with me because they think I'm Captain Morgan. And there's all sorts of drunk people coming up to me and going, "Hey, it's Captain Morgan." And I'm like, I look nothing like Captain Morgan. Anyway, it was really embarrassing. And at the end of the day, I was so disappointed that not one person recognized me as the pirate from the Pirate Auctioneer. So anyway, that's my little embarrassing story.
Now, the one question we're all asking ourselves is, do you have pictures of this costume?
I used to, but I don't think I have it anymore. And what's funny is I've actually gotten so fat, like I don't fit in the costume anymore. I tried last Halloween. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna wear my costume again," and then like I couldn't even fit into the pants. I was so mad. But I think I still have the costume. I don't know if I got rid of it yet, if I still have it. It wasn't fully complete either. Like the coat still needed to have like an inner lining, and I didn't finish the inner lining in time for that Halloween. So it was a very thin coat because it was only made of one layer of fabric and stuff like that. So but I had everything. Like the Pirate Auctioneer had like this leather strap that went around his shoulder and underneath the other arm, so it went across his chest. He had like this leather strap. I don't know what it was for. I have no idea. It looks like an oversized Santa Claus belt, basically. And so I guess Santa Claus's belt is oversized, isn't it? So anyway, yeah. So I even had that. I had all the. I totally looked like him, except for the fact that I couldn't acquire any like what do they call it? Like mustache or beard parts of the costume. Otherwise, I would have gotten like ginger colored, because he's a redheaded guy. Believe it or not, if you look at his mustache, and his beard, he's got like orange hair. Anyway, I couldn't find that, so that's probably one of the things that didn't make me look too much like him in that sense. But the rest of the costume could have sold it.
Well, if you ever do happen to stumble across pictures, send them over. We'll show all the viewers. I'm sure they'd be interested. Let's see. Now, Alex, if you have any closing thoughts on, gosh, it feels so weird not being able to read the chat. I'm used to just looking at. Okay, but anyways, Alex, if you have any closing thoughts on the subject, now would be the time to let the viewers know.
Actually, yes, I have one thought. If we could read the chat right now, Swagford would probably be writing something really strange.
Oh my gosh, you're not wrong. Let's see. Moving on to our sort of main topic, Alex and I are going to try, big word, try is the main word in the sentence. We're going to try and fix Disneyland's stroller problem. We've touched on this in the past. I'm not sure if we've done a full-blown episode or topic on this, but strollers are a very big problem in Disneyland. I feel like not a lot of everyday guests would think that strollers would be a problem, but if you look at the images that I'm showing you on screen, you'll see how big of a problem strollers are in the parks. For one, okay, I'm just going to go over the pros and cons of bringing a stroller to Disneyland. We'll start with the pros. The pros to bringing a stroller, or possibly even renting your own stroller from Disneyland. The pros to using a stroller in the Disney parks, if you have a small child, maybe from, gosh, what is the earliest age people would take their kid to Disneyland? Maybe from age 1 to 5, maybe 6 at the most. They can have a seat in the stroller if they get tired or if they want to take a nap. You can park the stroller wherever you want. Just forget about the kid. Let him take the nap while you go around and do whatever rides you want. I would not recommend doing that, by the way. But
okay, I was like, I hope he's not serious.
But yeah, you can let your kid rest in the stroller. If he gets tired of walking, he can jump in the stroller. Dad or mom can push him around in the parks. But let's get to the cons. Well, I guess another pro would be it has the little pouches on the bottom. You can carry like snacks or maybe diapers or like wipes or something, water bottles. You can put really whatever you want in the bottom pouches. That's really one of the big pros when it comes to using a stroller. Let's get to cons of using a stroller. Cons, they take up so much space in Disneyland. Not just in Disneyland. I'm assuming they use strollers in all the other Disney parks worldwide. That's just what I'm assuming. But it will take up... Just look at this image. Look at this image right here. All of this could be used for something else other than strolling. I don't know what it would be used for, but con number 1, it would take up... Strollers take up a massive amount of space. Con number 2, people use them as battering rams to get through large crowds. I don't know how many times the back of my ankles have been clipped by someone pushing their stroller way too fast, and they just happen to run into me, or I even see it happen to other people in the parks as well. Let's see, yeah. Con 2 would be being able to almost break someone's ankle, really, with the strollers, but that happens rarely. Rarely that happens, but there are some of those families who do like to carry those huge, bulky, $300 strollers. Okay, I guess that would be con 3. Con 3, if you do use the big, huge, bulky strollers, I'm trying to see if they have any examples. I'm guessing this would be the closest one. Look how big this one is compared to the smaller Disneyland ones. If you do use strollers like that, just get a smaller one. Have someone else carry something in a backpack. I don't know. I don't really see the point of having these huge strollers. And I guess this next one would be sort of like a pet peeve for me. Having kids above the age of 6 and upwards, having them sit in a stroller. Maybe 6 might even be too old for strollers. I don't know what qualifies as the age limit or age restriction for strollers, but I think
4 is like where you're starting to get too old for a stroller.
Okay, yeah, that I'll agree. 4 would be the max age. I see so many people, not just in Disneyland, in everywhere I go. Whenever I see a stroller, there's bound to be the one family who has the 10-year-old sitting in the stroller, and the mom is pushing the 10-year-old. His legs are hanging off of the stroller because, of course, he's too big for it. His legs are hanging off, his feet are dragging on the floor, and it's just not pleasing to look at. It's the only way I can put it. So yeah, those are most of the pros and cons for using a stroller. As you probably heard, there were more cons than there were pros, but there are right ways to use strollers in the parks. You can buy or rent one of these slimmer Disneyland strollers. Gosh, I remember one year we were bringing a stroller to Disneyland, and we had to take it on a plane. I think we had to get it checked, and I think they lost our stroller. That just popped into my head. So that's another con. You could lose your stroller on the plane ride if you do end up taking your stroller with you from your house on the plane to Disneyland. So just be wary of that. Gosh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there are right ways to use strollers. You can rent these sort of slimmer blue turquoise-ish strollers from Disneyland. I'm not sure right off the top of my head how much they cost per day. I'm sure they're not going to be very expensive. I'm sure it'd be cheaper than buying one of these huge bulky strollers specifically for the trip. But
if I remember correctly, I think they were around like $14 to rent a stroller for the day.
That's not that bad. That's like, oh gosh, I was gonna say that's like a full meal at Disneyland, but yeah, that's not too bad when it comes to renting strollers. I mean, if you're staying only like 3 days, that's only like $45-ish a month, or dollars for your whole trip. But yeah, using strollers, Alex, what are your thoughts on stroller usage in the Disney parks?
I'm actually really glad you asked me that because, because as a guest relations cast member, one of the things that we did was we helped people figure out like how to manage Disneyland, how to get around the park easier and stuff like that. And so we gave good advice because we were really knowledgeable about like what it's like to visit in the park and stuff like that. So one of the things that people don't really know about when it comes to Disneyland is how, when, and why to use strollers in Disneyland. And so basically, if I were to start off, I'd say if you're going to bring your own stroller, please bring a stroller that compacts easily, and when you compact it, it becomes very small. For instance, like an umbrella stroller. Mm-hmm. And umbrella strollers, as you know, they get really small when you compact them and fold them up. And so you can even get, I think there's even double strollers that are, there are double wide umbrella strollers. I know my friend Steve right now is probably saying, wait, no double strollers of any kind. But yeah, I think if they're a double wide umbrella stroller, I think that'll work. Now, some people who are listening to this right now are going, wait, if I bring an umbrella stroller, it's too small for my 4-year-old. Well, that should be a sign that yes. that maybe you shouldn't be bringing anyone using a stroller. Like, Okay, so the reason why I say umbrella stroller is because if your child is too big for an umbrella stroller, they're probably too big to be riding in a stroller anyway at Disneyland. You know, it's one thing to have your 8-year-old in a stroller out like on the street, right? But it's different when you're in Disneyland because you are really in a very compacted place, a place that is full of people, and you're getting on and off rides. And believe me, I've seen people try to get their double wide, super huge, bulky strollers onto the Disneyland Railroad, and they can't do it. They just can't. The stroller doesn't fold up small enough, and it's just too big. And believe me, any stroller that you bring that is that big, you can't bring them on rides or anything like that, even on the Disneyland Railroad. You have to leave them behind everywhere you go. And then that causes a problem because you have to figure out where are you going to leave it behind.
Yes.
You know, you get on a ride like It's a Small World, and you put the stroller in one spot, and you come out of It's a Small World, and it's not there anymore. Why? Because a cast member has moved it to a stroller parking area. And now you have to go find your stroller. So it becomes a mess when you bring a stroller. So if you have a child that is younger than 4, bring an umbrella stroller. They're really cheap to buy, and they fold up really nicely, and they're lightweight. Oh my goodness, they are lightweight. And so the other thing too is, since you're bringing an umbrella stroller, there's not much room on the stroller for storage. That also says something about how much you should bring to Disneyland. Because some people bring full-on, like, a nursery with them on their stroller. It's true. They bring huge bags of like 24 packs of diapers with them.
How much does your kid poop?
Exactly. And and so it's like you should plan for that, leave the bulk of your items behind. Bring with you the bare minimum. I would bring a little bag if you must with a few diapers, a baby bottle of sorts, not a few baby bottles. I mean like one. Like choose one to bring with you. Because there are because you can get bottled bottled juice drinks, bottled milk. You can even get cups of ice water at restaurants for free. So, the things you should bring with you should be the bare minimum. And believe me, this isn't just for other people's sake. This is for your sake. You don't want to be carting around all this stuff with you. So anyway, umbrella stroller, minimal packing of stuff with you. If you can, avoid bringing a 1 or 2-year-old to the park at all. I mean, because first of all, they won't remember it. Second of all, they get very uncomfortable in a theme park setting because there's so many people and they have to go to the bathroom all the time. And, you know what it's like. Children like that young. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's just like bringing Matterhorn Matt with you everywhere you go. He's got to be fed his bottle of juice, and he's got to be...
Gotta have my apple juice, my chocolate milk, my 20-pack
all
of
that
diapers.
Stuff. So, anyway, last piece of advice about your stroller and what you bring with you. If you can't do this for any reason, if you can't bring an umbrella stroller and you absolutely positively must bring a giant, bulky, humongous stroller, or even a Disneyland stroller, which is the green ones, then figure out where your stroller parking areas are.
Yes.
This means you have to do a little bit of planning, just a little bit. Ask cast members, like a guest relations cast member, for instance. Ask them where the stroller parking areas are for the parts of the park, and they can circle for it. They can circle for you on your map where the different stroller parking areas are in Disneyland. So that way you can kind of plan your day, and you can figure out where to go. So if you're going to Adventureland, they can show you the stroller parking, which is underneath the tropical import sign, which is next to the exit of Jungle Cruise, or if you're going to New Orleans Square, where the stroller parking is there, because that way you can leave your stroller behind and go on a few rides and then come back, as opposed to having to go and get the stroller every single time you get on and off a ride. So there's that, and for those of you who have decided to bring your umbrella stroller, you can leave your stroller behind at stroller parking areas, but the cool thing about your umbrella stroller is you can take them on most rides, and they won't be a problem. I mean, I say that now, but now that I think about it, I'm like thinking of someone bringing their umbrella stroller on the Jungle Cruise, and I'm like, that might not work. But anyway, and the other thing too is, if you're bringing small children anyway, the one thing you'll want to do either way, whatever stroller you bring, if you bring a stroller at all, which my parents would make us walk, believe me. My parents were just like, walk, and we walked. But figure out your plan of attack of Disneyland, how you're going to get around. Because if you go zigzag from one side of the park to the other constantly, you're going to get tired. Not just you, but your children are going to get tired. And they're not going to want to walk anymore. So if you choose to go around the park, which I always go counterclockwise around the park, that's how I do Disneyland, then you'll be able to manage your walking better. You do minimum amounts of walking, and it overall just helps you and your family a whole lot better. So those are my little bits of advice on strollers.
Gosh, talking about this almost makes me want to do a Disneyland vacation planning guide part 2. Because I don't think we talked about strollers at all in the first planning, whatever kind of episode we did. But yeah, definitely follow Alex's advice. He knows what he's talking about. As you said, he was a cast member who dealt with this kind of stuff. But yeah, when it comes to strollers, the one tip I want to give to all you stroller owners out there is to be aware of your surroundings. I guess 2 tips. Be aware of your surroundings. Be courteous of other people. Because, like I mentioned earlier, you can accidentally, sometimes it's an accident, sometimes it's not an accident. You can accidentally crush someone's ankles with the front of your stroller while you're trying to rush to the bathroom with your kid or trying to rush to your fast pass time. But definitely be aware of your surroundings. You don't want to accidentally do what I just said. You don't want to accidentally crush someone's ankles. That would be terrible. I'm sure that would be terrible. But yeah, now moving on to the sort of second part of this topic, Alex and I are going to go land by land and try and fix Disneyland's stroller problems in each land. I'm going to start with Adventureland just because it's the easiest. I feel like Disney did such a great job of fixing the stroller issue in Adventureland. If I remember correctly, I believe the strollers used to be lined up sort of in the middle of the walkway. I could be totally wrong. But now...
No, you're right.
Okay, yeah, they were lined up in the middle of the walkway, sort of separating the land into two halves. But now they're just under one... They're sort of just kept in one building, which is really nice. They're out of the way. They are out of sight, out of mind, really. So... starting off with Adventureland because it's the easiest. We'll save Tomorrowland for last because that one will definitely be the hardest. But yeah, Adventureland, not really much to fix in my opinion, just because Disney already did such a great job in fixing it. But Alex, do you have any suggestions if Disney might be watching, if they're waiting to copyright this video? Do you have any suggestions to say to them when it comes to strollers in Adventureland?
No, I think they've done such a wonderful job with the stroller parking there, so I don't really have anything to say. I don't know. No, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not going to take up your time. No, I don't have anything to say.
Yeah, like we said, Disney did really do a really amazing job when it comes to isolating the strollers in one area in Adventureland. Let's move on to Fantasyland. There are some areas like the image you're seeing on screen right now. I'm sure this is on a very, very busy day. Strollers lining... I have 2 of these, actually. 2 of almost the same images. Strollers lining the side of It's a Small World in the entry to Toontown. Now, gosh, it's really hard with these kinds just because there's no other place to sort of isolate them to, especially in this corner of the park where there's not really a lot of room to work with. And as you can see in this picture too, sort of lining the It's a Small World Mall, something like that is what it's called. But yeah, these stroller parking areas really... I didn't mention this before, they're also... I feel like strollers are a really big eyesore as well. Who would want to come to Disneyland to look at this ugly mess? I definitely... I would not want to see this while I'm on vacation, but... Let's see. Fantasyland, I'm trying to recall... I don't think they have stroller... I don't think they have a lot of stroller parking in Fantasyland from what I'm trying to remember. This is really the only place I can remember them having lots of stroller parking. Maybe along the sides of the Fantasyland dark rides. Maybe, I can't remember. But Alex, do you have any thoughts on trying to fix the stroller problem in Fantasyland?
Well, they have created some stroller parking over by Small World since they expanded the area where the parade route starts. So they've created a little bit, but they still need to work on it more. So there is an area I think that they don't need. It's the popcorn cart over by the Fantasyland Theater. There's a popcorn cart right there, and then there's like a little old-fashioned Fantasyland ticket booth that sits there unused. And I think that what they should put right there is a designated stroller parking area, because the one that is next to the exit of Small World / the entrance of Toontown is really clogged up, and there's just a lot of strollers there. I mean, granted, it is a really, really wide walkway, so they can get away with putting a lot of strollers there. But lately, it's been overflowing with strollers. So, so I would say maybe they could use that little corner there where there's a planter, and kind of remove a bit of the planter and then make more room for the strollers. And they're already doing pretty well, though, because, like I was saying about the stroller parking that they created, they found out that in between, like, parades, which in the mornings they don't do parades. So in the mornings, they use the whole parade route walkway in Small World. It's hard to describe without having a picture of it, but right by the entrance of It's a Small World, they have stroller parking there. So that actually does really well, keeping the stroller problem at bay. But if I were to say the rest of Fantasyland, they've done a good job over by Pinocchio's Daring Journey. They took out a planter there to make way for stroller parking, which was done really well. And I thought that was really nice. And I can't think of any other places in Fantasyland. I know that they do need some stroller parking over by Matterhorn. And I think that they have a little bit of space. It's next to the Autopia track, but I don't know for certain. I can't think of anywhere better to put the strollers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, the park there's only so much space.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to, is space. I sort of had the idea maybe they could build like a little wooden hut maybe somewhere in Fantasyland. I'm not really sure where. They could build a hut that says chariot parking. I feel like that'd be like a cute thing to have, and have the strollers be parked inside the building, and it'd be chariot parking. I just came up with that. I think that's kind of cute. Maybe Disney will eventually do something like that. I'd much rather have them in a dedicated building, like in Adventureland, than have them out and about like this, thrown all over the place, blocking walkways. But yeah, when you mentioned the Matterhorn, I pictured maybe they could transform the sort of boat dock that into a stroller parking. Maybe extend it, open it up a little bit more, and add a roof to it, and maybe they could park the strollers there. That might be too expensive, but that's another idea.
I think that's a really good idea.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No, because it works. I mean, like, they don't really use that pond for anything anymore. It's for those of you who don't know what Matterhorn Matt's talking about, it's the former boat dock for the Tomorrowland boats, or it was the motorboat cruise ride was what it was. Anyway, there's just a pier there now, and they don't really use that pond anymore anyway, so why not make more room for stroller parking and put it there? So, they could put even another pier next to it, that's all stroller parking. So that's a good idea. And as a matter of fact, I was just thinking right now, along Small World Mall, there's an area, like, if you're facing It's a Small World and you're kind of far away from it, like you're standing over by Storybook Land, if you look to the right, over by the pond, there is a elevated walkway that's like there's little stairs that lead up to it everywhere.
Oh, yes.
And it's like a little park. They could get rid of that and flatten that out to regular ground level, and then make that into stroller parking too, because no one really uses that little tucked away corner. There's nothing up there, just little gardens and things. And I know gardens are great, but when you're looking for stroller parking, that could really help, because there's definitely a stroller parking problem over by Storybook Land. So I think that'll help. So they could definitely flatten out that raised walkway that's to the right of Small World Mall, and they could use that as stroller parking, or even put ramps so that way
Yeah.
people can get up there and park strollers.
Yeah, believe I remember. I think Merida used to do a meet and greet in that spot, but that was
She
years
did,
ago.
yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure they still do meet and greets in that spot, but I mean, I think it'd be worth it to move Pinocchio or Winnie the Pooh or whoever else meets in that spot. I feel like it'd be worth it to move them to another spot in order to accommodate the strollers better in that area. That's a good idea. I didn't think of that. Let's see. Let's move on to... Oh gosh, let's move on to Frontierland. Frontierland is another one that I can't really recall. Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is Frontierland is sort of a smaller land compared to Fantasyland or compared to even Tomorrowland, but there's really not a lot of space. I'm trying to recall. I don't remember there being a lot of strollers in Frontierland. I'm sure I probably just missed them all, but Alex, what are your thoughts
actually,
on Frontierland?
You're right. There aren't a lot of strollers there, and the reason why is because usually strollers are parked in an area where people are going on rides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's really only one ride that is in Frontierland. Well, per se, a ride, not as opposed to transportation like Mark Twain, but a ride like Big Thunder. There's only Big Thunder in that spot, and so not a lot of people with strollers are actually going on that ride. So there's actually there's not very much of a stroller problem in Frontierland. Actually, the funniest thing about Frontierland is the biggest problem is the line for Big Thunder that stretches out so far that it goes. They have to weave it through the little park that they have there. The little what do they call that? Zocalo Park.
Mm-hmm.
But for strollers, they do park them right along the exit area of Big Thunder, which is not actually a good spot to park them because that kind of congests the walkway there. So I had a thought, okay, so my thought for where they should park strollers, and they don't use it fully for strollers right now, but there's a part of the walkway if you're facing Big Thunder and you're about to go up Big Thunder Trail, it's on the left and it's right up against the banks of the river.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little pocket there where they just have benches for seating, because it's a nice shady area. Well, they could move the benches to the opposite side of the walkway and instead use that big space for stroller parking, because there's enough space there to put like 3 rows of strollers parked like up against each other and a nice long walkway. It must be like 50 feet of space to park strollers. So there's plenty of parking there. And that's what they should use that for. But right now what they use that for is just benches for seating. And I think once in a while they have like a cart of some kind out there. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I think about that. But the story about the line for Big Thunder stretching through Zocalo Park, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah,
So.
When it comes to Frontierland, like I said, there's not really a lot of strollers. I feel like everyone who parks their stroller near Frontierland would just park them in, in New Orleans Square anyways. They wouldn't bother. Just because, like we mentioned, there's not a lot of space to put strollers in Frontierland just because it's so small. But, yeah, Frontierland is another land where we really don't have to worry as much. But now we are getting into the very difficult lands. Let's move on to New Orleans Square. New Orleans Square is probably number 2 when it comes to bad stroller management. as you can see in the image I'm showing, I'm pretty sure this is from... Yes, this is from Disneyland, this image. Oh yeah, well, it says Disneyland on the stroller, so it has to be from Disneyland. But, gosh, where do we begin with New Orleans Square? Strollers are really... The past few times I visited, the strollers have been parked normally where the walkway right in front of Pirates of the Caribbean, as you can see in this image. And I even believe sometimes when it gets really bad, they park strollers on the sort of bridge that goes above Pirates. I feel like I've seen that sometime. But yeah, New Orleans Square is basically like Frontierland, except there are more strollers. We mentioned Frontierland doesn't have as many strollers for whatever reason, but for some reason, people are very attracted to parking their strollers in New Orleans Square. I've seen rows and rows and rows and rows of strollers. I believe the majority of them get parked sort of down by the Phantasmic seating, so not necessarily out of the way, but then again, people like to use those walkways, and you can't use the walkways if there's strollers in the way. And as you can see in this image, they're just right in the middle of all the traffic going through New Orleans Square. And like we mentioned, this is another land where it just gets the short end of the stick. There's not a lot of place to put the strollers, unless maybe, I was thinking maybe they could gut out one of the buildings, one of the little shops in New Orleans Square, and maybe turn that into a stroller parking. But then again, those walkways that sort of lead in between those shops are very narrow as well, so I wouldn't really want that, just because having all the strollers located in that area, having all the parents try to bring in the strollers in that little walkway, and even parents bringing out the strollers while parents are trying to bring in the strollers, gosh, while people are trying to walk in and shop. I believe there's like glass shops there where you can buy like figurines and stuff. I wouldn't trust having strollers anywhere near that area, anywhere near those areas up there. But yeah, I'm trying to think in my head where Disney can build a stroller parking area, but like we said, I don't know how they did it with Adventureland. They did it so well when they moved all the fresh produce area into the bazaar. I think that's what they did to accommodate the strollers. But with New Orleans Square, it's very different, because for one thing, half of it is surrounded by water. You can't really build out into the rivers of America. And then it's like right up, if I'm remembering correctly, it's right against the berm. You can't build anywhere outwards past that. It's really, yeah, I'm trying to think of where they can put the strollers, where they can relocate them to. Nothing's really popping into my head. What about you, Alex?
Okay, well, currently there's a few spots that they already park strollers, and they're in very bad places. So let's start with the actual inside of New Orleans Square, the actual little streets that are there. So people currently park their strollers along the left side of Cafe Orleans restaurant, which is right across the street from the exit of Pirates of the Caribbean. So those streets are actually usually lined with strollers, which is really terrible because it really congests those little streets. And as a former cast member who used to work in the main kitchen, which is below New Orleans Square, one of the ways I used to get in there was through a door which was next to Cafe Orleans, but the door was almost always had strollers parked right in front of it, so I couldn't get in through the door. So anyway, so I had always thought that there's a little corner. If you're exiting Pirates of the Caribbean, and just slightly to your left and across the street is a little open courtyard. It's not enclosed. It's an open courtyard, and there's usually like a caricature artist that usually sits there and paints like people's ugly faces and stuff like that on the paper. And so I always thought that that was just a poor use of that space, and the caricature artist thing is not popular anymore.
Yeah.
So I say they should get rid of the caricature artist, and that would actually open up that corner of New Orleans Square for them to put actual rows of strollers instead of letting them be in the middle of the walkway. Like they are right now, just lined up against the sides of the buildings. So instead, that little courtyard there could have stroller parking. And then I even thought that for people who are going to eat at the Blue Bayou, for instance, they park their strollers right outside. Well, they no longer use the old entrance to Club 33. They've actually completely reconstructed over the second floor of that area. So there's no use for that area. So I thought, why don't they open up the lobby to the original ground floor lobby to Club 33, since it's no longer used, and open it up into an indoor stroller parking area.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, and there's no door, so you just take off the door, and then it leads inside, and then you can park strollers in there. And there's plenty of room, I think, in that spot to park strollers for people who are eating at Blue Bayou. So I think that's a way to get rid of strollers out of the main walkways of New Orleans Square. And then as for the strollers along the rivers of America,
just throw
them into the river. Just throw them in. Yeah, just that's what you do. You throw them into the river and
It'd
get
be
them
like
out.
the Boston Tea Party, but just with strollers.
I know. They could do like 2 shows a day where they have like all the guests throwing their strollers into the river. That'd be funny.
Oh my goodness.
But I don't have a solution for the strollers along the rivers of America. I wish they weren't there, because you can't really walk up to the edge of the river anymore because all the strollers are parked there. But maybe if they parked the strollers opposite the edge of the river, maybe like up against the planter there, that way people can actually walk along the edge of the river and actually look over the railing and see the river. That's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, stroller parking, let's see. And then the stroller parking over by the entrance of Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't foresee that changing. Unless they get rid of, honestly, they would have to like get rid of the treehouse and then turn the area that the treehouse was in into stroller parking.
I'm okay with that. I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah, the treehouse isn't even ADA compliant anyway, so get rid of it. The treehouse, I mean, I loved it. It was great. The treehouse was great, but it's no longer relevant anymore, and kids don't even know the Tarzan movie anymore, so just get rid of it.
I haven't even seen the Tarzan movie.
You haven't?
Mm-mm. I got
what the
15
heck?
minutes into it, and for some reason, I had to stop it, and I probably had to do something else, but it is on my very long list of Disney movies I need to watch that I haven't watched. I'll get to it eventually.
Well, anyway, that was my ideas for New Orleans Square.
Gosh, yeah, it really sucks, though, because New Orleans Square is one of the more congested areas with strollers, and it sucks because there's really nothing Disney can do about it. I mean, one of the ideas we had a while back for Tomorrowland was to go underground with the stroller parking, but you can't do that with New Orleans Square. As Alex has said before on the show, I believe they have kitchens and various rooms and things underground of New Orleans Square, so you can't really do that with New Orleans Square. Yeah, the only real way would be to put the strollers on one of the rafts for Tom Sawyer's Island and just push them away, leave them to be in the river.
Send them away on a raft.
Never to be seen again. But let's move on to, in my opinion, the #1 most congested area when it comes to strollers. or I guess not even when it comes to strollers, the number one congested area in Disneyland, that is Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland is the worst when it comes to strollers. Strollers are lined underneath the People Mover tracks right at the entrance of the park, which, as many of you may know, creates a huge bottleneck through in the land, and that's right when you enter the land. The first thing you see when you enter Tomorrowland is these ugly strollers lining the old People Mover tracks, and yeah, that's really one of the main congested areas. Like I said before, Alex had the idea to go sort of dig underground, maybe have a little storeroom, something. I'm not real. Maybe they could call it speeder parking, something like that. It'd be nice if like each land had their own dedicated building to store the strollers, and like I said, Fantasyland would be like chariot parking or like horse parking, not horse parking, carriage parking. That's what I'm thinking of, carriage, not chariot. And then Tomorrowland would be like speeder parking, spaceship parking, something like that. It'd be nice if they themed it like that. Disney, if you're listening, that's my idea. Don't steal it from me. But yeah, it would be nice if they were to go underground with it, but I don't think that would ever happen. For one, it would be very expensive to close Tomorrowland, dig under the land, and have a room big enough to store all of the strollers that get parked in Tomorrowland throughout the day. And I'm trying to think. I don't know where the entrances or exits would be for the stroller parking. Maybe in the old maybe it could be in the Star Traders building. Maybe if they just completely get rid of Star Traders and just have that as the entrance or exit to the stroller parking. Or they could even just get rid of Star Traders and just use that as stroller parking. Or, I just thought of this, even better. The ideas are coming so fast. Even better than getting rid of the Star Traders. Using the bottom floor of the Starcade, maybe, if that still exists in any capacity, use that as stroller parking. It's out of the way, right at I believe it's at the exit of Space Mountain. It's not really in a very populated area of Tomorrowland. I feel like that, or just the second floor of Innoventions. Just put the strollers up there. Or even maybe just get rid of Innoventions, put a smaller building to store the strollers in. But yeah, I'm gonna go with my idea would be to sort of gut the first floor of the Starcade and just have the strollers parked in there. We already know that that area above it is gonna be getting some use, as we mentioned a couple episodes ago. So why not the first floor? The first floor of the Starcade needs some love too, Disney. Use that as stroller parking, or just gut the Starcade, or maybe even cut the Starcade in half. I don't know. I'm not very creative when it comes to this, but Alex, what are your thoughts on how Disney can fix the stroller problem in Tomorrowland?
Okay, well, I definitely have an idea that I think is really good. So there's been recent rumor that they plan on demolishing the People Mover tracks, especially the ones that go down the length of of Tomorrowland. And they probably plan on also demolishing the People Mover platform station and everything. So if they destroy all of that and the round station in the back, they destroy all that, I think that they should move the Astro Orbiter away from the entrance of Tomorrowland and actually move it to where it used to be, the rocket jets, to move it to that same spot, but have it located above ground, like on a second level. So if you can imagine where the People Mover loading station is, just demolishing that and then building a 2-story platform there where they can put the Astro Orbiter on top, and then underneath at ground level would be covered stroller parking.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so they could park all the strollers of Tomorrowland under that huge platform, and and people could access it from all angles. So it would be easy. And I think that would kind of solve the issue because that's right in the middle of Tomorrowland. So anywhere you would want to park your stroller, there's room. And without the Astro Orbiter in the entrance of Tomorrowland, there would actually be room for a little bit of stroller parking on either side of the entrance of Tomorrowland, with access straight down the middle. So that was kind of my idea on where they could do stroller parking for Tomorrowland, because I hope they get rid of the Carousel Theater building and put a new ride in its place. But I think that building a new platform for the Astro Orbiter and then underneath having stroller parking would be kind of good.
Yeah, I like that idea better than mine. And they might not even have to demolish the whole platform and rebuild it. Maybe, just maybe, they can move the Astro Orbiter back to where it used to be, replace the Observatron with the Astro Orbiter. Then again, I don't know if it can support the Astro Orbiter, but yeah, they might not even have to destroy it and rebuild it. But yeah, I do like that idea better than the strollers being parked in the Starcade. It'd be in sort of a centralized location throughout the whole land, and the sign would look better. Speeder parking, or like Starship parking, something like that. It'd look better on the People Mover platform than where the old Starcade used to be. So I am all for that idea. Now I'm going to discuss an idea none of us have talked about. I propose getting rid of Toontown and using Toontown as nothing but stroller parking. I feel like a lot of people would be on board for that idea.
Oh gosh, that's a huge stroller parking area.
And it still probably wouldn't even be big enough to accommodate all of the strollers that get put to use in the parks. But yeah, I'm all for demolishing, or maybe not even demolishing, the old People Mover loading platform, moving the Astro Orbiter up to the second level of the People Mover loading platform, and using the first level as stroller parking. I'm trying to think. I don't think they could even go underground with that stroller parking if they did decide to use that area, because I believe there are spiral staircases coming up from Astro Blasters. Yeah, coming up underground from the old Rocket Jets queue area. They might be able to make use of that and maybe have underground stroller parking. That'd be awesome. I'm trying to think. I feel like if Disney wanted to do that, they would be able to, but then again, I don't know how expensive that would be. But yeah, I'm all for Alex's idea. Way better than mine. Use the Starcade for something else. Use it for more extended queue for another ride. But let's see. Main Street, I feel like there's not a lot to talk about when it comes to Main Street. A lot of the strollers, from what I can remember, are either centralized in the... Gosh, I feel like... No, maybe not in that spot. Oh, my fish just swam so fast into the plastic. Ay. But I feel like I've seen strollers being parked where the train station is in Main Street. I could be wrong, but when I'm thinking of strollers in Main Street, I can't think of a lot of areas that would be taken up by strollers. Alex can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just from what I can remember.
There isn't really much of a stroller problem on Main Street, and it's mainly because people are just walking through Main Street.
Yeah,
Main Street isn't really a destination for a lot of people, so there's really not a lot of stroller problems on Main Street.
Yeah, that's true. Now that I think about it, there aren't really any attractions in Main Street, so they wouldn't really have a need to park their strollers, unless, of course, the parades come. Gosh, we didn't even touch on the parades when it comes to stroller parking. That would just be chaos. I can't imagine having all those strollers parked, like in the image you guys just saw, this image right here. Imagine having this, but during Fantasmic. Having these strollers parked along the rivers of America, right in front of the Pirates of the Caribbean entrance. Having everyone packed into that area for the Fantasmic showing, and then trying to get everybody out. While the parents are trying to get to the stroller parking to try and find their stroller and manage their way out of the stroller parking without interrupting anybody. I'm so glad I don't have a stroller, or I don't have kids that would need use of a stroller. I feel like I'm
so glad you don't have a stroller either.
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I feel like I need a stroller, but oh my goodness. Now, I think that's going to wrap up this topic. Alex, if you have any closing thoughts on the subject, now would be the time to let the people know.
No, I'm good.
Well, I was going to go to the chat to see what everyone else had to say, but tears running down my eyes because we can't read the chat. I might make a new channel dedicated to live streams. That's what's running through my mind right now. I will figure out what the best option for everything is, because I know a lot of you guys really look forward to the live streams. We look forward to the live streams. We like interacting with you guys. I'm sure you guys like interacting with us too. But yeah, I might just end up making a separate channel dedicated to Matterhorn Mondays live streams, or maybe even all the live streams I do would be centralized into that 1 second channel. And of course, the full episodes of Matterhorn Mondays will still be posted on the main channel on Mondays. So that is the one of the ideas I have running through my mind. And gosh, okay, yeah. So that's gonna wrap up this topic, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I do want to say a couple things before we end, though. I will, in the future, I'm planning on doing a sort of t-shirt contest. If you guys are interested, all of you artistic people out there who might be interested in having a t-shirt contest, type in the comments down below. I want to sort of gauge what you guys would think of that. Because I feel like having people draw their art, submit it, and have it be put on a t-shirt, I feel like that'd be something really awesome. I've always wanted to submit art for a t-shirt contest, but I can't draw. So there's that. But yeah, I am planning, maybe a video will be coming out next week or this week for that. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And I do want to reiterate for those of you guys that missed it, because I know at least one of you missed it and will be typing in the comments, when is Matt going to Disneyland? I will be in California in Disneyland July 16th through the 21st. I will tweet this as soon as the podcast is over. A tweet will go up, a post in the Discord will be up, and like I said, I'll probably end up making a video maybe like a week and a half before I leave, just to inform you guys. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Mark your calendars. I want to meet some of you guys. I feel like that'd be awesome, being able to meet some of my fans and some of Alex's fans too. It's like on my bucket list. But anyways, yeah, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Matterhorn Mondays. We hope you all enjoyed, and we want to hear your thoughts on the topics we discussed, whether it be the redhead walk-around character, or what Disney character you'd like to see as a walk-around character. How did I phrase it? What Disney oh gosh, I had such a perfect way earlier. What character from any Disney attraction that's not already represented with a walk-around character would you like to see as a walk-around character in the Disney parks? Gosh, that was long. That was longer than the original one I said, but yeah, you guys get the gist of it. And we'd also like to hear your thoughts on how you'd fix the stroller problem at Disneyland. We are just two guys spitballing our ideas, so we'd like to hear what you guys have to think as well, because some of you guys out there have really better suggestions than we have sometimes. So yeah, definitely comment down below your thoughts on that. And Alex, why don't you go ahead and let the lovely viewers know how they can support your channel?
Absolutely. So if you'd like to support my channel, you can get the free app called Venmo, which is spelled Venmo. And what you do is you create an account and then find my username, which is @AYAlexander, and then you can create a transfer request for however much money you'd like to send me. That helps me a lot because it helps me to be able to get lunch in the parks and spend more time instead of having to go home early. So please do.
Yeah, guys, links to Alex's Venmo, links to the Venmo app, and his username will be down in the description as usual. And also links to Alex's Twitter will be in the description as well. And also links to my Patreon and my Twitter account as well will be in the description. Wow, a lot of links in the description for these episodes. But anyways, yeah, be sure to follow us on Twitter, support me on Patreon, support Alex through Venmo, all that jazz. And as always, have a great big beautiful tomorrow.